So, hello everyone.
Hi.
I am Lazima Mills,
And I am Kenya Whitaker.
and this is Untitled Talk.
It's brought to you by SWAC DC. Make sure you follow SWAC on
Yes.
Insta at SWAC_DC and on Facebook. And make sure you follow me at decriminalization202 on Instagram.
Yes. And Facebook is SWAC Advocacy. You said that already.
I thought I did say that. I did.
Look. All right, so we're going to do like a little check-in so you get to know who we are. I am Lazima Mills, Lazima Elizabeth Mills. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and Madame Supreme. And we have go ahead, do yours.
So my name is Kenya. I go by DJ Itty Bitty, Daughter Knees, Cutie on Duty, Kisses.
Okay.
Sexy child.
Okay.
All of that. All of the above. So yeah.
So we're going to do a quick check-in just to get us into the flow of the whole thing. So our check-in question for today, for this episode, is what gives you butterflies? What gives you butterflies?
That's a really, really good question. So when I was younger, what used to give me butterflies was when I would see my crush in school. And you had that crush. You be at school every day. Your attendance would be perfect, girl. You be like, oh, I hope they see me when I walk by. I'm going to get up and sharpen my pencil. I'm going to go and walk past their classroom. That's what used to give me butterflies. But what gives me butterflies now is relaxing. Like the idea of coming home, taking a nice bath, unwinding, watching a show, or reading my favorite book. Like that is something that gives me butterflies. I sound like an old lady.
That's cool. I like the way that sounds.
But yeah, that's what gives me butterflies now. What about you?
So I'm gonna take it back like you did because I like how you did it because it just made me think about something real cute. Like so, when I was in high school, I would say 9th grade, there was this boy. I'm not gonna say his name, but I really liked him.
Okay.
And mind you, this is the first boy I ever pursued. Like I like him, I want to get him. And he was a visual artist and he used to draw and stuff. And I didn't pursue him I'm gonna get that boy. I'm like, I don't know, let's see what he's interested in.
Right.
So then it was a wonderful event that I always remember. He was drawing. It was during lunchtime, and he was drawing. And I always want to have something that people need. So I just so happened to have a pencil sharpener with me. So I walked over there to him. Was like, "You need to sharpen your pencil," and he needed it because he was drawing. I was like,
"What was this again?"
Huh?
What?
This is high school.
This was high school.
Yeah,
what grade was this?
Pre-transition. I was in 9th grade.
Okay.
And that moment gave me butterflies. And then after that situation, we became friends. And I kind of dismissed anything possible, but eventually something did happen. But anyway, that's a long story.
What? Something did happen.
I mean, we became closer. Is what I want to say. We became closer. Okay. So,
all right.
That was a beautiful relationship. But anyway, that moment gave me butterflies. But right now, I don't know. Really, just me being with myself, you was given, me finding out things about myself, loving myself more, just being aware of those moments. Oh my God, I really do love myself. That gives me butterflies. It makes me very, very excited. So.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Thank you.
Self-love is the best love.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, so let's get into why are we doing this podcast to begin with? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be transparent. I used to say, I'm tired of these damn podcasts. I'm tired of these podcasts. I'm tired of these people with the mics, especially the men. And I was like, look, now, I don't need no more think pieces. I don't need no more people with mics talking about nonsense and these hypotheticals and unrealistic topics. But I do think podcasts are a great way to disseminate information. And I wanted us to do so specifically on the topic of decrim sex work and related topics to what it is that we advocate for. So I think that's a big reason why I asked Lazima back in January 2026. I said, I think we should do a podcast.
Yes.
I think we should do a podcast. And she says yes to everything I do.
Yeah, I do. That's my daughter.
That's my auntie mother. So she's gonna say yes to everything I propose because I do have really good ideas, and we've been brainstorming since then, meeting and figuring out how exactly we want to execute this.
Right.
So yeah.
So my take is like I'm a former sex worker, so I came into this work by necessity. Honestly, like I was doing like other jobs, working nonprofit in DC. You see a lot of trans girls, especially Black trans women. They go from street work to working at nonprofit. So I was doing that, and then like I became the executive director of SWAC DC, just like out of the blue. Um, but it seemed like this is something I wanted to do to advocate for sex workers. I went through all the stages of like understanding sex work, having, internalized biases and all that stuff to like knowing how to advocate for sex workers the appropriate way. So yeah, this is something I just wanted to do. It had to be done. And, of course, the in 2026, we did, I mean, no, 2016, there was like this big what's it called again? What's the word?
Movement, push.
No, it was like I guess you could say push or what is it like?
What is you trying to say?
The thing that happened in 2019.
You just said 2016.
I did say 2016.
She most definitely said 20. And this is what she does all the time. She'll say something and then expect you to fill in the gaps, and then you be like, "What are you talking about?"
It is all the time.
So I'm gonna go back to 2016. So 2016 is when SWAC was created as a working group to partner with other coalitions and organizations that focus on decrim sex work and harm reduction. They were focused on what issues sex workers were facing at the time and figuring out how to alleviate them in 2019.
Okay. That's what I was talking about.
Right.
Thank you. Finally.
2019 is when the Community Safety and Health Amendment Act was passed by the DC Council, and it was the first ever hearing on the topic of decriminalizing sex work. So if the bill would have passed, it would have made DC the first jurisdiction to ever decrim sex work, ever. So that means the exchange of consensual sex for value between those 18 years and older would not have been a crime. While also, because this is something that we're going to talk about, a little later, while also keeping in prohibitions against sexual assault, human trafficking, sex trafficking, etc. So I wanted to make that very, very clear. But why now? Like, I know we're talking about this podcast, but why during this political moment? Why is it important for us to have this podcast that's centered around sex work and decriminalizing it and educating people about the importance of labor rights for sex workers and all that progressive SJW stuff?
It's body autonomy. It's like taking your power back. I feel like it's very important to especially bring it up right now so everyone can have their own personal power. It is happening. Sex work is happening. There's like so many stigmas related to it, but it's happening. And honestly, we're trying to really get the message out about decrim sex work and what we're really asking for and what that really means. And that's what brings us to, again, for this podcast, also for that unity of all the organizations that are out here doing it. What are we really asking for when we say decrim sex work?
Yeah. And people, they ask like, oh, what is someone like you who's not a sex worker, doesn't have experience with that type of work particularly, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm an ally. That's what I'm doing here. I'm an ally.
She's not selling nothing, y'all. She's not selling that.
I'm an ally, and I want to highlight the fact that, and this is like really, really, really important, because while I was in school, I was in a clinic, and my professor asked if there was one thing you can change about from the legal system, what would it be? And I said decrim sex work. And the reason why I had said that, right,
thank you.
The reason why I had said that is because I was so inspired by the show P-Valley.
Damn.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk more about if art imitates life or life imitates art, or, both at the same time. But I just wanted to throw that tidbit in there because that show really did inspire me. It educated me, and it made me want to learn more about what sex work was, what it isn't, and how to advocate on the behalf of our sex workers, especially our Black LGBTQ plus sex workers.
Yeah, so let's get on this. You just all sex work. What is sex work? And we're gonna do like a little definition. Sex work is a commercial exchange of sexual services for money or other benefits like housing, transportation, or other survival needs.
This is her professional voice.
And sex work is an umbrella term used to refer to a broad range of transactions. Sex workers are not a homogenous group. People of consensual ages, genders, and are involved in sex work industry. So that's the definition of sex work in the literal sense and how we're explaining it today. And from that, there are different types of sex work.
Yeah, there are a lot of types. I want her to get rid of this script so bad. We're supposed to be having a conversation.
Listen,
no.
I need it because I ramble.
She does ramble.
Yeah.
She does. But we're supposed to be having a conversation. It's a very laid back vibe. We're here to educate. We're not judging. We're here to have a conversation with y'all. Yes. And we want y'all to ask us questions. But okay, going back to your original question at hand. Don't do that.
What is it? Tell me the different types of sex work.
Thank you. So there are a lot of types of sex work. Sex work is an umbrella term.
Yes.
So there are strippers who are sex workers. There are adult film stars who are sex workers. There is sugar. So sugar babies, sugar mamas, sugar daddies. There is escorting.
Oh, escorting. Okay.
I'm going to escort you out the premises. No, I'm kidding. That's a different type of escort. No. There's also what was known as prostitution. We don't say prostitution anymore. That's an outdated, archaic word, and it has like a negative connotation.
Yes.
But there is what was formerly known as prostitution. There is indoor sex work.
Yes.
That takes place in brothels. And then there is street-based sex
work.
Street-based?
Oh, on streets.
Do you know anything about that?
I do.
Oh, you do?
I used to be a street-based sex worker.
Oh.
Yes. And it was okay. Like, I'm not going, it was cute.
It got you a coin.
It got me a coin. It got me what I needed. The girl was walking the block.
You work on the stroll.
On the stroll.
What's the difference between the stroll and the track?
A track?
I heard a track.
What's a track? Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's like, that's how they say in Chicago.
Like the track.
Maybe a Florida thing. I don't know. Maybe the stroll and the track is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like a track. It's like a running, like a track they run around. So like a street. So maybe.
Okay. I could have sworn I heard that. But I want to go back.
We don't say that in DC.
We don't. We don't say that in the DMV period.
Not at all.
But I wanted to go back to you saying that you were doing it for survival.
Yeah. Survival sex work.
So how was explain to them what that means, what that looks like?
Well, it looks like when I transitioned at 17, I would say 16 was like, it was a slow transition. First, I just put on makeup and could not be seen without it. More like foundation. And then I started wearing more and more tight clothes. And then boom, I transitioned to wearing female clothes and like wigs and stuff like that. So 17, I would say like I was fully in girl stuff, in girl clothes. They called it inums back then. Inums. And when you was not, you was out of them.
Oh.
So
is you in or is you out?
I was in.
You was in, darling.
But at that age, no shade, you didn't have a job. It wasn't like hiring girls who were transitioned at that time. I did have a job, but I was like, I had to go I was working at McDonald's. I would have to go as a guy and then dress up in my girl clothes to go out and make me a coin to support myself or whatever. And it was the only job that I could do to be myself, like to be Lazima. That was the only job that was available for me to be Lazima. And then of course I was put out and living hotels and with friends and stuff like that. So, like 18, boom, 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 I'm out on the street. And girl, I had to make my coin. I had to make a living, living in hotels after hotel after hotel. and I feed myself, and then of course other addictions and stuff happen after that. But that was the only way I could survive. I couldn't get a job as who I truly was, who I felt I was at the time, and still now too, because you go through the little wave of detransitioning, and don't know, you try to figure out who you really are. But then I'm finally settled in on who I am. But yeah, you have to support yourself, have to feed yourself, and it's just hard sometimes. So you can't look for jobs and pay for your phone bill and all that stuff. So
you know what I always wanted to know? I don't think I ever asked you this.
what is it?
How much were you making, like, on average? Like,
girl, I don't even know.
You don't?
No, because girl, at 17 being out there, and at 16, and at 17, 18 being out there on the streets, all I used to spend my money on was food at first.
Okay.
So I would buy it, girl, snacks upon snacks. And then I would buy like sodas, juices, candy, and stuff like that, or just
stuff,
little kid stuff, and then just give it away. People ask me for money, I'll give it away. And then people would smoke cigarettes. I did start smoking cigarettes young too, so I used on cigarettes. Wasn't really a drinker until I got 21. I don't know why that was a thing for me, but I waited until I was 21 to really drink. But a little bit of weed here and there, and then a little bit of in the nose happens too.
That stuff is expensive.
It is.
How much?
And it was like, girl, especially buying it $20 a bag, because you used to just doing micro purchases. Oh. So I would buy like $20 here and there, and just to keep me in it, because doing it is not like something that you just like can just do back to back. If your libido is not giving Scorpio tea, and I'm an Aquarius, and we nasty too, but if your libido not that high.
We weren't talking about that, but she just has to let everybody know. She's advertising.
I am not advertising at all.
No, I'm just kidding. But as far as stereotypes of sex work and sex workers, like, what are some stereotypes that you've heard, like, being in the industry, and then now that you're on the other side?
Stereotypes like facts and fiction stereotypes.
Yeah. Don't look at that script. And she trying it. and she grabs it.
Look, all sex workers are forced into it. That is a big stereotype that is all around. And no, that is not true. Forced into it in like on a societal sense, survival sex work, I wouldn't say it's forced into it, because when they say forced into it, they think of like trafficking. Someone is making you do it. Oh, you have a pimp. Oh, you have a madam, or something like that. And that's another one. Like, all sex workers have madams. That's not true. Or pimps. That's 100% not true. Especially for Black trans women. Like, we was beating up boys. Like, we know it's not giving that. It's giving. This is my money. I made this. But there are some people that feel like they need defending or whatever like that. But that's a stereotype that's for sex workers, consensual sex workers. No, there's no pimps. There's no madams. Only men buy sex. That's one too, and that is not true. Women buy sex all the time.
Is it from like other women and other like men that's out? That's another question. Like, male sex workers, like, they don't think that they exist.
They don't think they exist because guys are so easy. They like, girl, they give it up. They give it up for very, very cheap.
They're sex workers by default, or is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, no, it's not by default. It's like, they just wanting to do it, and they be like, but the coin is not fierce. It's no shade. And you have to like remind them, like, excuse me, did you get paid for that? Like, you just did all that for what? Like, make your point. Like, and that's the perception too, that is giving madam or pimp. But you have to, self-worth comes, self-love and your own personal worth is something in sex work that needs to be like exacerbated or needs to be mentioned, because some people feel not worthy to ask for something in exchange for themselves. This is your body, your temple, and you're giving that to someone. Yeah, you can enjoy it too, but people think, oh, because I think it's like a control thing that tries to control. It's anti-feminism also, because you're low, because you're asking for money, you're asking for a way to survive. Like, I can charge you
Right.
for that because this is my body, and that was they say they always refer to sex work as like the first profession. It's honest, like you're not selling nothing that's not you. It's just you and your performance.
I mean, it is the oldest profession.
It is
for a reason.
Yeah,
you get what I mean.
Yeah,
for a reason. For a reason. But I wanted to go back to these stereotypes. So you said that they think that only men buy sex, but you've seen women while on the stroll purchasing sex from like other men, other women. Just
it's not like even just like sex. It's like to watch.
Oh,
yeah. Some women like to watch.
So voyeurism.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
What's that again?
Voyeurism.
Voyeurism. Ooh, that's cool. But that's a form of sex work also. Okay. Voyeurism.
Oh,
just watching.
Just watching.
Yeah. And that's a lot of girls like to do that too.
Well, no nasties. No, I'm kidding.
That is not.
Just playing with y'all. I'm just joking.
No, of course she's just joking. We can make jokes. Yes. We here to support.
Right. Always here to support.
Sex for money is the only form of compensation for sex.
You were just talking about drugs.
Huh?
You were just talking about drugs and addiction.
I know.
So like they also have sex in exchange for drugs.
For drugs.
And housing too, right?
For housing.
Clothes.
For food. And for like contraceptives. For like not contraceptive, but what's the word I'm looking for when it comes to paraphernalia? Oh. This is why harm reduction is so important.
Oh, so for syringes, needles.
Pyro pipes.
Oh wow.
All of that stuff people can exploit other people for those items for sex. And, you gotta do this, and then they make you do a whole bunch of stuff for it too. This is why you have organizations like SWAC DC, HIPS, and other organization that does harm reduction and pass out these supplies, not only to prevent like spread of HIV and other STIs when it comes to blood exchange with the needles, right? But so you don't have to exploit yourself unnecessarily.
And I think you just hit something for me, like in my head. Like I just had a slight epiphany because the whole time I was like, okay, harm reduction. I'm thinking to prevent the transmission of STDs, STIs, but that makes perfect sense. Like so that they won't have to feel like they have to do things that they don't want because they have an addiction and they need the materials to be able to continue that addiction, to engage in that addiction. Yeah. So yeah, harm reduction is powerful.
It's powerful.
A lot of people, they're just like, that's just a baby step. Giving them clean syringes and clean pipes and needles and all of that is just going to promote and encourage them to continue engaging in their addiction, and it essentially hypes up and promotes this issue instead of looking at ways to decrease it. But harm reduction is powerful because of what Lizzie. I think another stereotype is that sex workers promote the exchange of STDs and STIs. Like they're the reason for the rise or the rate of STDs and STIs increasing.
And that's totally false. Totally false. Like condoms are everywhere. Everyone uses them. Especially growing up, we was taught to use condoms. Like when we was like out there, like girl, get you a condom, girl, don't put it on without it. We're very, very safe when we're out there using protection. Like very, very safe. And it just comes to other things added to it that makes you choose not to use them. Like if you're scared of the police are out and you're really, really worried that you might get locked up and you're like, girl, I need this date real quick. And then, girl, he don't want to use a condom, but you need this money. So then that increases your rate of contracting something too, because you don't want to go to jail. You don't want to get locked up. You don't want to get in some situation. You don't want to be on the street. You just go ahead and do it raw because, you need the money and it's out there.
So you're saying because criminalization models exist.
Yes.
It essentially encourages, or maybe a better word to use is it discourages the use of condoms during the exchange of sex for value because they don't want to get caught.
Right. You don't
and it
want to get
might
caught.
take too much time to put it on, to take it off, all of that. So they're just like, okay, let's hurry up.
Right.
Let's hurry up and get this money. But in that, they are exposing themselves potentially to a STD or STI.
Exactly.
All because the police all up in people's business.
Cannot stay out of somebody's business.
Up in consenting adults' business.
Exactly. And mind you, the police turn it. They used to turn it, especially when you was out there. I remember I got caught up by the police once, girl, and I was with a date, and we got caught up. We was in a parking lot. He gonna come pull me to the side. He was like, "Tell me what y'all did, and I'll let you go."
Oh, so he wanted you to incriminate yourself.
No, that's not what he wanted. He wanted to embarrass this man.
Oh, he asked the man and you?
No. He just asked me, "What did y'all do?" And I'll let y'all go. Oh. So I let him know. He munched my bird.
He what?
He munched my bird.
Get away from me. We're going to keep this PG-13.
We're going to keep it PG.
No, you did.
I did. I definitely kept it
PG-13. You did. I'll give you that.
Thank you. And then he let me go. At least he was honest about that. He let me go.
But you said you had other encounters with police officers when you were on the stroll that weren't that.
Oh no!
I want to use the word pleasant, but they weren't as okay. I can go like quick. Like it was very.
Oh yeah, it was humiliation. They would take your wig off and lay it on the front of the hood, and that you stand there for all the days you would just try to get your coin from, or this driving past and looking at you, peeled back. Your man is just sitting on the car, and it was just so embarrassing. It's like, how do you recover from that? And didn't even lock you up though. After that, they just embarrassed you. Some of them just went there and just used their power to embarrass you or to just exploit you. There's a lot of other situations too where some sex workers were as aid by police officers, and it's like this is that power structure that they have over you, that they would try to. Oh, we won't take you to jail if you blah say blah, and that is a thing that I think is changing now because the work that we're doing in sex work decrim, there are not as many sex workers being locked up for
solicitation.
For solicitation. However, they're getting locked up for other reasons like probably trespassing, paraphernalia, disturbing the peace. They'll say that. They'll have different areas of people saying, "Oh, they were really loud," but it's really just people just walking home from the club, and they were just like having a good time, a good laugh, but everything is now being said, "Oh, it's sex worker, this." But there's also another take.
What is the other take?
You know how it would be in-house violence?
Yes.
Some sex workers used to use this criminalization tool to clear the motherfucking streets.
You were telling me about that, like the competition amongst sex workers, especially back in the day when you were doing it. Yes. Like, what? And it's still mind-boggling to me, but like, briefly explain, like, what do you mean by
so you have like, so you got like 10, 20 girls outside, right?
Okay.
And you have a specific aesthetic.
Okay.
But you have another, like, say your aesthetic is similar. Say if you got, say someone look like you, right? Both of y'all skinny and dark skin. Yeah, both of y'all sexy, skinny, dark skin, right? But look, I'm gonna use you as a protagonist. I'm gonna use you as an antagonist. But Kenya, it's like, hold on, this girl stick by my same aesthetic, but her butt a little bit bigger than mine. And I'm not, you know what? I'm not living for her out here. She's gonna block my coin.
I have a big butt, by the way.
But in this story, it's not as big as the other girl.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the girl will be mad about that because she need her money for her rent. She's the only job she has, so she'll get on there 911. Hi, this is Becky. I'm calling. There's a disturbance outside. There's a lot of girls out here. Can you send someone up here? In her white voice.
Becky's.
And they'll come out there, clear the block. So now, and this girl, Kenya, she had a car. Okay? So she gets in her car and just lets watch all the madness go, and the girls clear the block. And then she just gets back out once everything's coast is clear, and then she cleans up and make her point.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So that is their way of eliminating competition.
Eliminating competition, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they can just get all the dates,
Yeah.
all the attention, all the resources
Yeah.
while y'all are locked up.
Locked the fuck up.
Oh, goodness.
I know, and it's awful, but it's like that was the only job for, especially for Black trans women. That was the only job all of us had. You have 20 girls out there, everybody. Sole source, except for like probably one girl. Everyone's sole source of income was sex work. And street-based sex work. A lot of girls couldn't be on the internet. I didn't even know how to get on the internet and do that stuff. I didn't have a credit card or nothing like that. I didn't know what to do. Nobody told me how to do that. I just was just like, girl, how do you do that? So I had to be out there on the stroll. And you have a lot of girls out there that they just want to exist as themselves, and they just can't afford to. It's expensive to be a lady. It really is. Just like basic stuff is a coin.
Yes.
And then why do men be going off like why you need? Bitch, are you serious? It costs to look like this.
I wake up like this.
I wish I had a can of mace. Rick. Mace. The girls used to mace the girls.
Mace.
I'm just saying that was
officer.
That was the 90s.
She's right here. Becky's on the phone, and I'm calling to say that she is threatening me and harassing me and assaulting me. All of that. I want to say one more thing. So I think another stereotype is that only transgender women do street-based sex work.
That's true. That's the stereotype, and that's not true.
You just how you gonna say that's true that is a stereotype?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, but it's not true.
But that's not true.
Yeah, so I've seen women, cisgender women, older women.
That's another one too. That's always
in street-based sex work.
Yeah, like younger or middle-aged adults that engage in sex work. Now, it be old girls too. It be the old. It be the elderly be out there with walkers and that time.
The elderly is really a lot. Like,
no, the elderly are out there. I'm gonna say the elderly because it's like, girl, they be 60 and 70. Mm-hmm. It was a grandmother that one time at bank. That one time we went out.
A grandmother.
We went out to do stroll patrol. She said she was a grandmother, and she had a big scar on her leg because she had to jump out of a car.
Oh, that was. Yeah. I remember.
And while we were out there, we had just so happened to get out.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and she was driving down the car. She was like, let me out, screaming with the door open. And this guy, and he was not trying to stop the car. I was like, stop that car, let her out. Girl, he stopped the car immediately, and she got out. She was so scared.
I think she was crying too.
She was.
Oh my gosh, she was really so sad.
It. But then suddenly she just like snapped back into like, I gotta get this work, and just paid her feelings. And we said, hold on, right quick. I was like, talk to her, give her a moment because she needs to feel that.
Yeah.
Because when you are out there and that you just push those emotions aside, it's a terror that you're just waiting to bring up later on. And it's like, no, that's when you really abuse. But we talked to her for a moment. We had an interview
program that we do.
Yeah, interview outreach that we do while we're passing out our hoe bags. It was like condoms, perfume, and stuff like that. It's a hoe bag, girl. That's right. It's a hoe bag.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
She calls it a hoe bag.
It's a hoe bag.
We call it our necessity bag.
It's a necessity bag.
It's a necessity bag. It has necessities in it, such as a Know Your Right pamphlet, such as mints. People need mints for a fresh breath, such as condoms and lube, wipes,
perfume, lipstick, a mirror.
All of those are necessities.
Yes. I
would know.
Yeah.
No, I'm just...
Why did it glow like with...
I would know.
Why did it glow?
I glow. No, but seriously, yeah, I remember that moment. That was really, really sad to me. And I think we was out with a policy fellow. So somebody who had just graduated from law school. Yes. They were doing policy work during that time. They were a fellow specifically at that time. And I had them come out to stroll patrol with me. And that was one of their first times doing that type of outreach. And that was like literally the first stop we made. That happened.
Yes.
So they were like, oh my goodness, this work is really important. I see why y'all are out here.
Yes.
And why y'all care so much about this issue and why it's important to advocate about decrim sex work. Because you have individuals who have to do it for circumstance and they should be able to do so without any threat of harm or criminalization. And I can go on and on, and I will go on and on.
On and on. But look, have you seen that movie Four Brothers?
I have seen the movie Four Brothers, but we ain't talk about that one thing.
What? What are you talking about?
You know he's gonna talk about. It's gonna make the girls mad. Well, you know we was gonna talk about how some people be thinking sex work.
Oh, the adjacent. Sex work adjacent.
Right.
Okay, so next time we're going to talk about sex work adjacent.
Yes.
Like the sex worker adjacent stuff, because people always think like what we spoke about earlier about what sex work is, sex workers, street based, and pornography and all that other stuff is like doing it and but there are sex work adjacent stuff. So okay, and we'll talk about that next time.